Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Bitcoin just made a strong short-term pump, but for me this is not a reason to blindly long the market. Right now I'm looking at four things: the 1-hour chart, the 5-minute chart, and the weekly liquidation heatmap. And all of them are telling me the same thing. Bitcoin is not in a clean entry zone. It is moving between important liquidity levels. So instead of chasing price, I'm waiting for the markets to come to my levels. I will show you. First, let's start here with the 1-hour chart. On the 1 hour, Bitcoin bounced from the lower part of the range and is now pushing back into resistance. The important thing is that we are still trading below the bigger value area above us. These levels. Price is currently around 62k. I can show you on the liquidation heatmap. This is model 2, the weekly liquidation heatmap from Binance. As you can see over here, we had a lot of liquidations. I think Bitcoin is on its way to these levels. Now let's check model 1. If you check 48 hours, these levels are very interesting in my opinion. But as you can see, we are in the middle of a range. Here we have a lot, and here we got a lot more. Price is currently around 62k, but the next major resistance zone sits between 62.8 and 63.2k. That area is important because it lines up with previous price acceptance, volume, and a zone where sellers previously stepped in. So for me, this pump is not automatically bullish yet. It's a reaction from support into resistance. There's a big difference between a bounce and a bullish reversal. A bounce can still fill. A real reversal needs acceptance above resistance. Now let's talk about the 5-minute chart. I got it over here. On the 5-minute, the move looks strong at first. Bitcoin pushed fast from around 61 into 62k. But now price is entering a zone where I don't want to chase. Why? Because we are no longer at support. We are also not clearly above resistance yet. That means buying here gives me bad risk reward. If I long here and Bitcoin rejects, I'm buying directly into sellers. That's not a professional entry. For a long, I want either a clean pullback or a clean reclaim. A clean pullback will be Bitcoin coming back toward 61.6 to 61.8k, holding that and showing buyer strength again. A clean reclaim will be Bitcoin breaking above 62.8 to 63.2, holding it as support and then continuing higher. Until that happens, I don't want to force a long. Now let's look at the 48-hour liquidation heat map. This is where it gets interesting. On the 48-hour map, Bitcoin has already moved into part of the upper liquidity zone. But there is still liquidity above price, mainly around 62.8 to 63.2, as you can see over here. That means the current pump may still try to push higher before the real decision happens. This is exactly why I don't want to short too early. Shorting too early into a liquidity magnet can be dangerous. The market can easily squeeze a little higher first, take out late shorts, and only then reverse. So if I want to short, I prefer to wait until Bitcoin reaches a strong liquidity zone above. For me, that zone is around 62.8 to 63.2k. If prices reaches that area and starts rejecting, then I become interested in a short. Now the weekly liquidation heat map. The weekly map shows the bigger picture. Above price, there's a major liquidity cluster, around 64 to 65k. Below price, there's also important liquidity around 60k to 60.5k, as you can see over here. So Bitcoin is still trading between two big magnets. This is why I don't want to marry one direction. If Bitcoin reclaims 63k with strength, the bigger target could become 64 to 65k. But if Bitcoin rejects from this resistance area, then I expect price to rotate back towards 61k and possibly 60k. So the weekly map tells me one thing clearly. We are in the middle of a bigger liquidity range. And the best trades are not in the middle. The best trades are at the edges. So what is my plan? I have two setups. The first setup is a short setup. I'm watching the 62.8 to 63.2k zone. this area. If Bitcoin pushes into that area, takes liquidity and then starts rejecting on the 5-minute or 15-minute chart, I will look for a short. My first target will be around 61.8k. It's around this line. Yes. As you can see, it is value area high of this small range. So this will probably a short entry, and this will my first target. My second target will be around 61, like there. And if the market gets weak, the bigger target will be 60k. But I only want this short if price shows reaction. I don't short just because price is high. I short when price reaches liquidity and fails to hold. The second setup is a long setup. Wait, let me... I will remove the take profit levels just to have it nice and clean. For a long, I want Bitcoin to either pull back and hold support or reclaim resistance with strength. The first long zone I like is around 61.6 to 61.8k, where it's moving right now, almost right now. If Bitcoin comes back into that area, holds, and buyers step in again, then I can look for a long back towards 62.8k. The second long setup is above resistance. If Bitcoin breaks above 63k, holds that level as support, and open interest confirms strength, then I would look for continuation towards 64 to 65k. But I will not long in the middle, because in the middle you are usually the liquidity. The most important lesson here is patience. A lot of traders see a pump and immediately think they missed the move. But that is how people get trapped. The goal is not to catch every candle. The goal is to wait for a high probability setup. Right now, Bitcoin is pumping into resistance, while liquidity is still sitting above and below. That means I'm not chasing. I'm waiting. If price rejects around 62.8, I look for a short. If price pulls back and holds this area, I look for long. And if Bitcoin reclaims 63k with strength, I look for continuation towards 64 to 65k. Until then, I stay patient. Because sometimes the best trade is no trade.